Welcome to MCT Podcast episode 3. This is the first one that is not an interview, so it's more of just like a roundtable, but unfortunately it's a rectangle today because we only have 2 in the office today. But this is kind of the plan for any week where we don't have a guest prepared. We're just going to discuss the company and whatever's up on the horizon, as well as just some fun topics. So we're here with Ryan again, the CEO.
Hi there.
Yep, welcome
Thanks
back.
for having me again, Nolan.
Yep. So let's just get right into it. First topic we wanted to go into is something we've released recently. It is service, and we just want to talk a little bit about how this is something that was a little bit of a hole in the market.
Yeah, service really wasn't or isn't. You know, we've had a lot of conversations as we've built the platform with different trainers and whatnot. And one thing we frequently heard from people is that they don't have a lot of service content, right? It's one of the most important departments in any retail automotive setting. And it gets, obviously it doesn't get ignored, but in terms of training, it's definitely lower on the list than sales typically is. So as Nolan put it, that is a hole in the market that we wanted to fill. So with that comes our typical suite of training classes, right? We have self-study guides, team practice guides, along with full classes as well. And our newest addition to that is the PiP call intelligence for service as well. So we will be monitoring and tracking and scoring all incoming service cars to dealerships, which is going to be just, it's been an insane amount of work to get up and going, but it's going to be really cool stuff.
Yeah, and on my side of things, I'm the prompt developer, so I've had to work a lot on just filtering calls, finding which calls are of which type. But now, service departments will be able to identify those calls where there is an irate customer, or the vehicle's not fixed right, they have a complaint, and those will be highlighted, and we can get in contact with those dealerships to make sure everything's running smoothly going forward. I think that is a very high value product.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be providing more insight into that than I think anybody else out there. And all thanks to you doing all that prompt engineering for us, which has been, I know has not been easy for you. We took a first stab at it, really, not the first stab, we got the first look at it today, the day of filming, which by the time this is done, it'll actually be out and released for everybody. And we have a little, I think that stuff all worked really well, right? The irate customer and all of that, those have worked well so far. I think it's the actual scoring on the individual calls that needs a little more fine tuning, as it were. But that's a process we're pretty used to right by now. So.
Yeah, that's what I get paid to do there. So
it's one of the things you get paid to do.
Yeah, but hopefully we get it nicely organized by the time this clip is out. Anyway.
We do pay him for this as well, by the way. We're not cheaping out on his hosting the podcast and all of that. He take care of that too. We pay for that. But yeah, so that should be really great stuff. I mean, it's a long time coming.
Absolutely. So there's service. That is a great thing coming. Or I guess it's out. It's out for you guys to go ahead and take a look at.
Yeah, it'll be out by I'm not used to that yet. Filming something and then releasing it weeks in the future. Yeah, that's going to take some getting used to.
Yep. But just so you know, this is not a live broadcast, but
no, yeah, gosh, no, God, I don't want to do a live broadcast.
Yeah, this is what they'd be watching. Just a lot of us trying to figure out what to
talk about. Yeah.
All right,
I go well.
So with service out of the way, the second topic we can talk about is education. Mm-hmm. So I had this idea, and I think this is something we should really consider as a company. I mean, I'm saying this to the CEO here on the podcast, so sue me for this.
I didn't know I was getting a pitch today, but okay, all right, bring it on.
But there are a couple things. First of all, this one's obvious. This one's more obvious, and it is definitely something we would do.
Sure.
My parents are both school principals, and they both work with LMSs regularly for their training. Every substitute teacher has to go through these things. Every teacher has to do these every year. And it's just watch a video, take a test, and nobody watches these things. I also know this happens at colleges. How to respect the school. There's a lot of those going on around in universities, and those are LMSs as well, and that's in education. And we can easily go in and make those more interactive, more entertaining, and also really prove that the students know their stuff. Because teachers really should know the safety information for their students, and they really shouldn't be skipping the training that could help potentially save a student's life, or at the very least make them healthier, happier, and safer in their schools. And I think that's very important. So that is definitely something we could get into, is safety and education on that front.
It's funny that you bring that up, actually, because we were talking to somebody last week who has a lot of experience in the education world, and she actually brought that exact same thing up about how she sees it all the time, right? The teachers go in and they do their training, however often they're required to do it, and it's the same exact thing. You watch a video, you take a test, and she straight up said to us, right? Sometimes she's had to do these things, and she'll just open up a second browser tab and look up the answers, or if she, if she needed to, but she said herself, like, you don't even have to watch the videos to know the answers half the time, right? They're not really teaching you anything you didn't know already, or that you couldn't kind of put together through context clues, right? They kind of lead you to what that answer is, which is, an important part of education is leading someone to the answer, but they almost just give it to you outright, right? So yeah, no, that's a great location, I think, that we could put the tool in and actually really, I think, can make a big difference, right? Like you mentioned, sometimes student safety comes down to having good knowledge of that kind of stuff. So being able to better arm teachers and better prepare them for those kinds of situations, I think would be super invaluable. And the fact of the matter is, that happens in every freaking industry. I mean, I know nurses who have to take these same exact kinds of things where they go in, watch a video, take a test at the end, and then they completely ignore or check out or stop paying attention to this material that's in front of them because they can just answer it at the end, right? It's such a, I don't want to call it low-hanging fruit, but I mean, it's a very common problem across just about every single industry. And I think that kind of almost compliance space like that, well, yeah, it would be huge for us long term. So yeah, I mean, good idea, Nolan. Absolutely, yep. Man. When can we talk to your parents about that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, pretty soon.
There you go.
So,
all right, cool.
Yeah. And then to follow up, I mean, it's just one of those things where the AI, given, I'm the prompt writer, I've seen it plenty of times. The AI can do a pretty good job of knowing, did you pay attention? Do you know what the answers are supposed to be, without it being a multiple choice question? And I think that is the key, because if you learn something, you'll be able to say what you learned to some degree, and you wouldn't need just an answer choice to have it, because there's a massive difference between being able to answer a question and being able to pick out of 3 options which one is the obvious choice that they were hinting at.
Yeah,
it
comes back to what we've talked about. I think I talked about this in the first episode. I think my dad talked about it in the second episode, and I'm going to talk about it again here and now. Yeah. Is the 2 questions you should be asking, right, with any training or any kind of education are my students learning? Can they perform the behavior? A multiple choice test can show that they are learning something, but oftentimes, especially with a lot of these videos that Nolan's kind of talking about here, they're asking you to also do something, right? It's not just, do you know what to do? Can you also do it? So I think that's one of the most powerful things as well, is the AI can really, by listening to these role plays, they can really break down and see, can they perform that behavior, right? That's kind of where the difference makes, is behavior change. It's not enough just to go, yeah, I know what to do. Great. Do it.
Yep, exactly. So. And then that leads me into the second educational aspect that I think we could definitely build in.
The second one.
And that is tutoring to some degree.
Okay.
Because I know AI can do math, right? That was actually a job that I had before this.
Funny enough, yeah.
Is I was training AI to be able to do math. I watched it evolve from being able to do algebra, barely, to being able to do graduate level math. And so I know AI has gotten capable on that front. And I also know through LLMs, it can communicate relatively well, especially with the voice and in role plays, which I've seen at this company. And so if we combine these 2 topics, and we just have something where there's a student working on an equation or some type of math problem, and they don't know exactly what step to take, maybe the AI could give them a hint, and then they can learn that way while still having to do the behavior.
I mean, yeah. there's no reason we couldn't do that. In fact, we've got a lot of that sort of framework already built up in the software, right? It's at that point, though, you're talking about, because we're a business-to-business company primarily right now. I say primarily, entirely, right? We don't necessarily work with individuals. So at least at this time, that could change in the future. We'll see how the cards fall. But yeah, that would really require us to then actually allow, I think, individual users to come in and well, I think we'd have you build or at least help us build out the training curriculum for like a math tutoring kind of course. But yeah, no, that would be very, very possible and really cool, frankly, because the nice part about guided discovery is it's not really tied to any specific domain like that, right? Like right now we're in retail automotive. We want to expand beyond that, because as we talked about before, I talked about, I think, restaurants and hospitality originally, and that's obviously a place we still want to go and a place that we think we can really help out at. But, we've talked about healthcare and you just brought up education and specifically helping within education, doing tutoring and helping people just to keep improving themselves and just getting better and building those skills. I mean, that's what it's all about. So I think that'd be awesome. So okay, first of all, set up a meeting with your parents and then get me a spec going on our tutoring. All right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, it's actually funny. I don't have a spec, but I did do a PiP learning, a little bit of a PiP learning prompt. I wrote one out, and it can already, because of our framework, walk a student through solving an equation. And so if you put your equation in to the prompt, then you can just say, okay, I think I should do this step, and the AI will either say that you're on the right track or you're not. And then it will basically, it won't ever give you the answer, but it can hint, if you need it, what the next step might be, or like what the direction of the next step might be.
So it can break it down for you step by step, is what you're telling me. So I can go in as, as a math, somebody not very skilled with math, and I go, this is what I think what I think the first step should be, and then it will help me adjust my thought process as I go through.
Yep.
That's invaluable, especially in math.
Yep.
Like, that would be a huge difference maker. All right. Well,
and the number one reason that I would bring this up is students are already using ChatGPT to get the answer.
That's true.
But could you imagine if instead of ChatGPT giving them the answer directly, it helps them to actually learn how to find it? I think that is a massive, massive difference maker, and it could really save education. and it could actually make it faster in a way where the students learn and they, exit high school with the math skills that they need to succeed in this world and not have the rates plummet like I believe they are in some categories right now as a result of ChatGPT and
talk
COVID.
About being able to help teachers too. I mean, imagine that, right? Like, you have students who are struggling. Not every student knows to go or is comfortable going and asking for help, right? Not every student can take that time or has the resources to be able to do that. So then for them to be able to go in and to have a tutor available at their fingertips like that 24/7 would be a huge boon to teachers and to students. I mean, I think that just would be such a big help, like all around. Yeah, no, that'd be incredible.
All right. Well, that's something we may offer. Might be a little longer on the time horizon, but
will offer.
We will.
Okay. There you go.
That's a commitment.
At some point, right there.
There we go. All right. So that's education. That's where we're headed on that front. And then you brought up an idea where if AI takes a jump, what could that do with the platform? And I thought there was a really good suggestion there.
Yeah. So if AI takes that next leap. Right now, you have a lot of these AI companies that are releasing these incremental upgrades, right? Like, as much as maybe benchmarks might try and say otherwise, the jump from ChatGPT 4, for example, to 5 and now 5.2 has really been more of a baby step forward than any kind of generational leap, right? Like, the jump from 3 to 4 was massive and very noticeable. The jump from, again, 4 to 5.2 has been, or 5.2 has been just okay. The latest models pretty much across the board are constantly getting better, but there hasn't been that wow factor, right, that we saw on that last leap. So if they make that next leap, right, that is going to unlock so much more flexibility for us and for you in particular when it comes to our AI models. So one of the things we would like to do, right, and get to at some point is, I mean, imagine this, right? You have a behavior that you want to learn, but it's not available in our software just yet. So what you could do is you could ask the AI to build you a class based on the principles of guided discovery, and then boom, it'll do that. It'll build out the content. It'll build out a PEF, all written out in objective form that you could then follow along with and perform and be graded on, and have that system built around it, right, that allows the accountability to make sure the training is getting done, that will actually allow you to track and measure your results, and you can see your improvement over time, and then to tie those back to whatever your lag measurements are, right, whatever metrics you consider a success based on those initial behaviors that performing. So you can then allow you to, whenever you need training on anything, you just ask for the help, and then there it is at your fingertips.
Yep, and I'm just thinking of all the applications of this. Like,
sure.
This could be an individual, right? They found a skill that they thought would be really useful, for whatever, their own business, whatever they want to do. Maybe a YouTube channel, they notice they're really good at 3 things, but they can't do this type of editing. They might ask it for that. And if our AI can come up with this objective criteria for them and this system that can allow them to improve, I just think that is an incredible value, and it could completely revolutionize learning as a whole.
Well, that is the goal here at the end of the day, is completely revolutionize the world of training and, frankly, education by the sounds of it now with your recent pitches. So, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot we can do. And more than that, too, that I'm not going to talk about just yet, because those are some ideas because right now there are some tools that will actually build out training for you based on your ideas, but they don't have any of that other surrounding, support built around to it, right? To make sure that you reach that endpoint that you want to reach, right? So I'm not going to name names, but they're a little light in terms of what they offer you, because then they very much so are in that same vein of, rather than watching a video, you read a page and then you take a test, right? Everything comes back down to tests, which, again, are fine. They're good even, and they have their place. It's just not the best way to learn. So I think the future's bright when it comes to that. I think AI will take that next leap, hopefully in sometime, maybe next year, year after that, somewhere around there. We'll see. But I think really exciting things are coming, man. Really exciting things.
That is exactly what we want you guys to know, is that is the direction we're headed in. And you guys got to just stick around, and we will offer that to you. So keep that in mind for the future. And that is MCT Podcast Episode 3.
Number 3. In the bag. All right.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Nolan. Appreciate it.
See you guys next week.
And thank you all for watching.